Good evening, viewers, and welcome to a brand new episode of Startup Speaks. This is brought to you by NASSCOM 10,000 Startups in association with the government of Karnataka as well as the government of West Bengal. And this program, as you know, celebrates the journeys and success stories of some of the most happening startups in our ecosystem. And today, we're delighted to have with us Ashwin K, co founder and CEO of Custom Fit, Rajesh Kumar Ji, who's the founder of Highway Delite, and last but not the least, Naresh Kumar, who's the co-founder and CEO of IamHere Software Labs. A very warm welcome to all of you. So, Ashwin, let's get started with you. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey? What got you hooked into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, that's a good question, Navik. First of all, thanks for giving us the opportunity to present to be on the show. We are really grateful for the NASCOM 10,000 startups too. Right. So just to get started on that, right, a quick intro about me. As you know, I'm the co-founder and CEO of CustomFit.ai. Myself, a big alumnus with 16 plus years of experience. I worked for multiple early stage startups in the past, right? So the companies where I was working, right, I was playing a part of the entrepreneur kind of the thing where I used to run a ad hoc kind of the team which works on something new and something fancy and something off the off the shelf kind of the features
Mm-hmm.
and functionalities. Right, so that's when, and also the companies used to do a lot of hackathons kind of the culture. My last company thing, that's where actually I found since I was into that entrepreneur mode, and that's in that journey I found my other co-founder Shoaib, who also has the same set of mentality, and he is a fresher joined straight out of college in my team, and that's where the experience and the
Mm-hmm.
the energy combination, we thought that will prove lethal. And that's true. Okay, when we started, we didn't like custom, it was not our initial idea in mind. We came out with the concept of a feature as a service kind of the thing. We named it, that platform, as a backbuckle, backbuckle.io. We started with that thing, and during that journey, we were I should say that we were fortunate enough to realize very quick that within 3 to 4 months of our launch, like among the different features and functionalities which we were providing at that time, there was one feature that was getting a lot of good hits. That was a kind of the personalization behavior management thing, right? So basically in this journey, one of the like very important thing what we learned is the pivot. And like it's like how quick you pivot, or how quick you understand the
Mm-hmm.
market, and how quick you
Mm-hmm.
adapt, right? That's the thing which that's the whole journey, encircled around that.
And when did you launch it? When did you launch Custom Fit?
Basically in 2018 December we launched Backbuckle, and within 1 quarter, by April time period, we found that, okay, like among the different functionalities what we are providing, that one feature is getting a lot of good hits. It's like the people say, right, it's like 1 inch wider and 1 mile deeper thing. We just started
Mm-hmm.
focusing on that thing, and eventually that turned out into Custom Fit for us, and we launched our platform somewhere in the late 2019 time period. So that's the whole journey of how the transition happened. And good thing is, during that time, the lot of polishing happened with respect to the product, with respect to good feedback in goods and all, because of the early days. That's the reason, if you see the Custom Fit today, it's a kind of like why it's such a flexible and such a feature rich, because it gone through that phase of course correction,
So
with the
it's
real
gone through all those
improvement.
iterations, right? So you've been
Correct,
able to
correct.
refine and evolve on a very sort
Exactly,
of
exactly.
agile way, right?
Correct, correct. True, true. You got that.
And who came up with this name, Custom Fit? Was it you or was it your co-founder? And how did you come up with that?
No, basically, we were at Calorie Capital as a year. At that time, okay, we were talking with the like investors over there and all. At that time,
Hmm.
we wanted to name our product as a Tyler.ai. Unfortunately, we
Okay.
didn't get that name. Now we feel that fortunately, we are fortunate enough so that the domain was booked at that time. And then the Custom Fit name was the alternate which we were looking at, and that domain
Hmm.
was free. And then we booked that thing because it was in line according to what we do. In a nutshell, Custom Fit is all about how can craft your website as if, okay, it's been tailor made to that one particular visitor who is visiting on your website, right? As if it's been custom made to each and every
Yes.
visitor landing, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it aligns well there.
In fact, Taylor.ai, right, gives a very different kind of a feeling, right? And people might be very confused and okay, this is something else that we're
Correct,
looking at.
correct, 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 correct. That's true. That's true. Now we realize after all this talking, right? Where like we always do some, always a feedback loop like what kind of the things which would have been totally different, you would have taken some course, right? So during that time,
Yes.
okay, we realized that okay, yeah, tele.io, like AI can be completely would have taken the perspective of the no prospects in totally different way.
Hmm.
That's a good thing that happened. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And how many folks do you have in your team at the moment?
So
What's your core
currently we
team like?
are seven-member team, and we recently raised a pre-seed round from a couple of investors like Java Capital, First Check, AngelList, and Let's Venture and all. So yeah, so now we are hiring. We are we are looking for. There are so many different openings with respect to marketing, development, and bunch of other things. Now we are growing.
Great, great. So we'll be back for another round of questions. In the
Sure.
meantime, Rajesh, we'll go to you. Why don't you tell us, the viewers, a little bit about your journey? What brought you to entrepreneurship and specifically to Highway Delight?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I mean, it's a great pleasure to be among all of us, and thank you for the NASCOM support. To give a context of Highway Delight, so I never imagined that I would be an entrepreneur or a startup person. So I used to work with a consulting firm by name ICRA Ratings. I mean, ICRA Ratings is a
Hmm.
financial rating firm, very much like Crescent. They have a consulting arm, and as part of consulting, I used to travel a lot. I'm also a travel passion because I come from a defense family. So since childhood, I have traveled across India. Almost every place in India. So travel comes very naturally to me. So during my consulting days, so we always used to travel by road. Like you always go to the nearest, like for example, so there's a place by name Yavatmal and Wardha near Nagpur, and there's a
Okay.
place by name Srikakulam near Vizag. There's a place by name Jodhpur near Rajkot. So all of these very interior places are connected by
Hmm.
roads and not by airports. So you of course fly to the nearest airport, take a cab, go on a highway trip, and you
Right.
do your job and come back. So during those consulting assignments is when I actually got this idea of Highway Delight, realizing the real pain points of traveler on highways, on roads, in understanding the information and so basically the pain point of verified information, the facilities, whether it is safe, whether it is hygienic, what kind of custom personalization can I get at these pit
Hmm.
stop. So these are the pain points which actually made me think of coming out with this idea of Highway Delight because the other enablers at that time was, of course, the internet and the mobile. Everybody started to have a mobile, and the internet connection was getting better and better day by day. So it just that gave me a insight saying that why can't we make a verified information platform for travelers on highways dedicatedly and give them full end-to-end services available for them to discover and then later on to do a transaction and to create their own travel experience the way they want to, very much personalized. So that is still the core of Highway Delight. That's how the journey started. So I started it in 2015 and have taken it very naturally and organically since the start. So we were
Hmm.
part of NSR Cell IM Bangalore, pitched the idea to them saying that this is what I want to do. This is so I already started covering few highways that time. So we had database of about 3,000 kilometers before I pitched it to NSRCL IM Bangalore, and we got incubated there. Later on, we expanded that. Then, fortunately, we had this competition by Karnataka Tourism Department. Saying that we want to fund tourism startups in Karnataka. So we applied for that. We presented the scope of covering the entire 25,000 kilometers of highways in Karnataka and making all the POIs and information available. So we got through that, and then from there we pitched it to BPCL, Bharat Petroleum.
Hmm.
And currently, as we stand, we have covered more than 60,000 kilometers with 1 lakh plus data points on highways. And now we are entering into a mode of transactions on highways. So the information and discovery part is more or less is what we have, and then now slowly we are entering into transactions. We have already started with FASTag and food ordering part of it, and then later on, as we speak, as we continue the journey, we will be getting into almost every category of highways and the transactions enabling on that. So that's how it is.
Wow, wow, that's quite an eventful, exciting journey. So tell me this, right? In making this transition from an employee, from a salaried consultant, going into the the deep unknown of entrepreneurship, right? Was there any point where you thought, okay, I mean, was there any moment where you said, like, dar ke aage jeet hai kind of a thing? Was
I
there
think
any
it's
uncertainty at all?
I think it's an everyday moment that because every day is so unpredictable. So you just can't imagine what situation you will be facing every day, right? So I think it's just that we have to keep going, just stay focused, and I think it has to be very clear why you started. First of all, I mean the
Mhm.
purpose why you started. If you just keep that purpose every time in front of you, I think any challenge you can just overcome just by trying to solve for that purpose. I think that's what it is.
Right, absolutely. And today, right, in this 5 year plus journey, how far have you grown? So, what's your team strength at the moment? Where you based out of? And tell us a little bit also about the geographies that you cover.
Yeah. So currently, we are of course Bangalore based, and we have a core team member size of about 10 people, and we have a very huge intern team across India, more than 100 interns. At one time, we had like live intern strength of 150 plus
Hmm.
to cover a majority of highways across India. So we have geographically covered every highway upward from Delhi, every national highway in South India in all the 4 states. We have partially covered the western, like Gujarat, Maharashtra, to and MP to some extent. And on the eastern side, we have covered major routes across around Guwahati. We have not covered really the areas of Bihar, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Odisha. So that is yet to be covered by us. But the major highways, the major entire tourist flow and to the major destinations is what we have covered right now.
Okay, sounds great. So, Rajesh, we'll be back again for another round of questions because we've got Naren who's waiting for us, right? And Naren, let's talk a little bit about I am here. The name itself is so provocative. The name itself is like, okay, is it I? Is it the user? Is it the customer? Is it the person? Is it Naren himself? So tell us about your journey and also specifically how you came to that particular sort of name.
Okay. Maybe I can start with that. I am here. The name actually came up during one of the conversations I had with the cab driver.
Okay,
So I'll park it there and then tell you what I am here is, and then I'll come back to it after the
sure.
journey. I'm here, as we call it, as a hyperlocal community network, right? Like how Highway Delight is
Hmm.
enabling discovery and connection on the highway, we are enabling discovery and connection in the neighborhoods and within communities, right? And pretty much like how Rajesh had his own story, I had a story as well, and I'm sure all of us will empathize with that. Is when I first moved to Mumbai after my MBA from ISB. That was after 7 years of career at Cisco in
Hmm.
India and in the US. Then when I first went to Mumbai, till then I was in Bangalore. I thought I had a set ecosystem here, or whatever minimal I had. But when I went to Mumbai, I just couldn't figure out who was there near me. If I
Okay.
had to play a game of cricket, I didn't know whom to ping. If I had to go to the gym with, if I used to
Hmm.
blog at that time, are there people near me who can blog? Are there people from my college, from my school network around? I just couldn't figure out any of that. Right? That is
Okay.
when I realized
And when
technology.
was this? Which year was this
So
that you're
this
talking about?
was when I first went to Mumbai. It was 2011-12, right?
Okay.
And the
Okay.
idea of I am here started around 2015-16 time frame when I was vacating an apartment there in Mumbai. On the last day when I was locking the door, I was shifting homes. I discovered that my neighbor was also from the same college that I went to, right? And I
Okay.
had stayed there for 3.5, 4 years, right? And
And
that was
during this entire period, you didn't know.
exactly, right. So we had met each other, we have spoken with each other, but I didn't know that he was also from ISB, right? I probably didn't know him by name, not by
Hmm.
hobbies and
Hmm.
all that, right? So that is when I realized technology today does a great job of connecting us with people across the globe, across the country. Like you, all of us are geographically apart and we are connecting with each other and having this
Yes.
beautiful conversation, right? But if Rajesh were in my neighborhood, or Avik, you were there in my neighborhood, or Ashwin was there in my neighborhood, I would very unlikely know any of you, right? Maybe
Hmm.
by
Hmm.
face, not by name. Maybe by name, definitely not by profession or hobby or something like that, right? So
Absolutely.
That's when we thought, okay, let's create technology solution to this problem. And because this is not just not just a one-off problem, this is a countrywide or a global problem as well, right? So what we figured out was, let's say if I were an art lover, right? Today, technology, for example, I could go to Instagram and follow an artist in New York,
Yes.
right? But if that artist were next door, I wouldn't know him, right? Where in next door, I don't just follow him, I can actually go and buy, chat, connect, collaborate with him on artwork, right?
Yes.
So that
yes.
is the problem that we wanted to solve. We wanted people to find like-minded people near them. We wanted businesses to be able to promote near them. We wanted NGOs to find social volunteers near them, right? In a way, we wanted to create a Google for the neighborhood.
Right.
Right.
So essentially, what you're saying is it's two purposes, right? It's individual to individual, but it's also B2B.
Correct. So it's individual to individual as well as a group collaboration, right? So let's say travelers can discover each other in their neighborhood and plan trips. Musicians can discover each other and plan weekend jams, right? Or I could be an entrepreneur trying to sell and promote in my neighborhood.
Right.
Right. So in short, what we have mapped is, so we have just looked at what do people want to do in the neighborhood, right? Beyond their homes and beyond their workplace or communities, right? So people just want to know two things. One is who lives near me and what is happening near me.
Yep.
Right. So who lives near me is the discovery part, and what's happening near me is the collaboration part, and that's exactly what we solve.
Yeah. Because after that, I'll figure it out on my own. Who I want to reach out to and what I will do. That
Right.
Yeah,
And
I can
we
take it on
provide a
from there.
technology platform for these connections and collaborations to take place.
So at which point of time were you sort of so passionate about this idea that you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do full time?
Okay. Post while at Cisco, I had an opportunity to be part of a new business unit that Cisco had just started. They call it the Smart Connected Communities, right? The smart city and all those things that we are hearing today. Some of those seeds were sown by giants like Cisco at that time. Then, post my MBA, I got an opportunity to start a new business from scratch for Schneider Electric. So we took it to about 10 million revenues in about 3 years' time. And post that, I got the opportunity to be part of the founding team in an AI IoT startup called Intelf. Right. So here I got the opportunity to build the brand from scratch. In Schneider, the brand was there. It's a business that we had to build. Here we had to build the product and the brand also from scratch. Right. And post that is while during this Intelf journey is when I realized my passion for customer interactions, right? Consumer interactions. The B2C stuff always excited me. Of course, we have a small B2B in IamHere also for private communities, but that's really a B2B2C. Right, so the consumer psychology, consumer interactions, and using technology for social impact excited me. Right, to using technology to solve a real-world problem for consumers, for the society at large. Right, so 2015-16 is when this idea germinated, and then I got in touch with Deepa, who was my batchmate from BITS, and Prateek, who's from my professional network. So we all got together, brainstormed, and created a product out of the idea. So 2017, we started doing our prototype, then alpha, beta. By the time we got the V1 that we have today, it was almost 2 years. So exactly 1 year earlier, we launched the product that we have today. Today, we are about 200,000 users, mostly in Bangalore. Now we have launched pilots in 10 more cities, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Chennai, and a few tier 2 cities like Mysore, Cochin, Nagpur.
That's a really great growth story. And how many folks do you have in your core team at the moment?
We are 8 full time and 2 or 3 part time people whom we plan to absorb post the next round of funding.
Great. And now, like everyone who's watching the program, I'm dying to know the story of IamHere, that cab ride.
Oh yeah. So when we were brainstorming different names, right, and we wanted name that will connect with the people, right? Because that's our larger vision was to enable neighborhood marketplaces, right? When neighborhoods are marketplaces, we wanted the nearby stores, right? The hyperlocal stores, maybe an organic farmer selling farm produce, right? So we wanted a very, very simple name, and we were in love with the way WhatsApp had created its UI, right? Like cab drivers to electrician to plumber, everybody was able to use WhatsApp, right? So while that was a product question, the name we had a lot of names that we had, like 5 or 6 names that we had. We wanted a name that was simple to understand. We wanted a name that had a personality appeal to it, and we wanted a name that had a location stint to it, right? So when we were actually talking to an Ola driver, nothing against Ola, he said, uh, when you come up with a name, please don't keep this Ola, Uber, and all that. I don't even understand what the meaning is. Keep a simple name, right? Then I told him these are the 3, 4 names that we. And when I told I am here, he said, "Oh yeah, I like that name. I am a class 5 pass, but I don't know English. But I know I am here means oh I'm
I'm
here,
here. I can understand that.
right?" So he said, "Keep that name." Right, and 1 year later, I stole this number, and then 1 year later, went back and told him, "Hey, we have started this company, and it's called IamHere." Right, he
Wow.
downloaded the app and checked it out.
Okay, great. That's a fab story.
Right.
Lovely, Naren. So we'll be back for more questions. In the meantime, Ashwin, one of the first things that struck me, right, when I looked at your not just your profile but the website, is that it's got a little bit of a history connection. The history connection is that of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar goes to Gaul, which was back then France, and he says, "Veni, vidi, vici," right?
Correct.
So I came, I saw, I conquered, and I see
Correct.
something very similar. We
Correct.
we saw and we
Correct.
captured, right? So that really sort of resonated with me, and I thought it was a fab way of just getting people's attention, at least my attention. So what made that come about? Tell me the story, because so much of what we do today, right, is how we project it, how we message it, how we package it to the outside world. So tell me about that.
Sure. No, if you see, no, what custom fit does, right? Like basically, custom fit is all about, how can you convert your website visitors to quality leads? In other way, how can you convert your website into #1 growth engine? Or we say that, your website is your #1 salesperson. No one can sell or no one can market better than your website, right? If you see, typically, like when I say companies, we typically focus on, B2B companies, B2B SaaS and B2B side, right? So companies spend a lot of money in driving the traffic to their website. For example, it can be outbound channels like say outbound emails, push notifications, SEO corrections, your social media ads, whatnot, right? Now, once the visitor lands on your website, so basically the tool's job is done. Whatever tool which you use, like basically it has done an excellent job of bringing you visitor on board, right? So your all effort is what? Not to drive the visitors. It's all about how can you convert those visitors to your quality leads, or how can you convert those visitors to your customers, right? So that's where our the custom fit fits well. Like we are not into the job of bringing you the traffic, but custom fit will comes alive as soon as the visitor lands on your website, and the entire website will showcase as if okay, this is the platform tailor made, like as if okay, it's been custom made for you, right? Depending upon say the moment the visitor lands on your website, the custom bit auto detects a lot of the things about visitors. It knows who the visitor is, who sent him onto the website, what was he interested into, like, and whether he's a first time visitor or coming for this, like, as a, is a repeated thing. Even it can auto detect company name also, like what company he works for, what segment they are into, what, what's their ranking, what's their company size, bunch of the things, right? So assume that as if, okay, you are right behind my laptop screen, you as a marketer or you as a salesperson right behind my screen, and the moment I land onto your website, you exactly know what to showcase to this particular visitor, right? So entire pitch of the website can automatically change depending upon what is he looking into, right? It's all the content is the game, right? The content is the king, and right content at right time to right person, that makes it's a deal breaker. That's where
So
actually we say that.
let's try and do maybe a use case live as we are talking, right? So let's take my very new sort of fledgling startup. It's in the HR technology space. It's on the cloud. It's digital. Essentially, what it's doing is it's providing behavioral insights on a B2C platform as well as B2B. Okay, so a company can hire it, or an individual can just log into the portal, do like a psychometric test for maybe like half an hour, anything between 20 to 30 minutes, and then they're getting a full detailed report, okay, of different kinds of characteristics and internal correlations, and then I can use that to A, obviously know more about myself, and B, take better decisions, figure out my course correction if any needed for my career, what I need to do in terms of sort of continuing education, a whole lot of things, right? That's the basic long and short of it. And I have traction, which is coming in from an individual perspective. And more often than not, I have traction, which is coming in from the clients whom I'm reaching out to, the prospects, right? So that's what's happening at the moment. So in this particular case, how can custom fit help my startup convert these leads into customers?
Right. For example, consider this use case that I myself, okay, from my custom fit, okay, landing onto your website, right?
Okay.
So as soon as I land onto your website, so basically say that your website understands, okay, automatically, who this customer is, like who this visitor is, what is this company, what segment they are into, what is the size of that company, and what kind of the technology they are using, or even consider case you get to know ahead of the time, like what kind of the openings they have, what kind of the technology are working, and all those things, right? And based on all that thing, the entire content of the website can showcase as if like this is the best HR tech platform for you to understand your visitors, right? The entire content, whatever the messaging which you're giving, it can even go as deep as even it can take my name over there. Okay, it knows, like as a visitor I should feel that, okay, exactly what I'm looking is these guys are giving the same package, right? So that's where the whole thing gels then. So that's that. One thing is, okay, you as a, like for you, like you will get to know how exactly the people are behaving on your website, so that you will understand what to personalize, when to personalize, and whom to personalize. And then, okay, the personalization engine kicks in, and not just based on who the visitor is, also based on what he has done on your website. Say that how I started browsing your website, what kind of the pages I'm looking, what kind of the blogs I'm reading, where I'm stopping. Based on all those things, along with your backend CRM systems like HubSpot, Salesforce, and all, based on even stage of the visit. Say that I have landed onto your website after taking a demo, very first time, the pitch can be different. After, if say that if I'm already your customer, already, like I'm already sold to you, right? You don't need to again, you don't need to again, okay, come with those glorified statements and all. So it's all about how can you upsell, cross sell, and all those things. Till the journey, like till the lifestyle of a customer, the entire customer, the entire pitch will be altering based on, okay, how he starts, engaging with you.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. And we're going to be back
and
some
one more
more.
thing,
Go ahead.
on top of that thing, right? It's the entire platform is a zero code platform. In sense, it's a built for these business teams in mind. Whatever maybe the technology which you have built, like which you used to build your website, it just works out of box. Whether it's a WordPress, Joomla, Wix, anything, you don't need to change even a single line of the code to get started. Like basically, what we say is the marketers are the one who are driving the traffic today onto their website, right? So when that segment of the visitors lands on their website, they can showcase exactly the way the that segment of the audience wants to look at, right? So that's the whole point over there.
Nice, great. Okay, so we're going to know more and maybe work together, going forward.
Definitely.
Rajesh, in the meantime, why don't we do a use case? And this is something that we were talking about earlier, right? So why don't we try and do a use case around highway delight? It's been ages, man, since I've done a road trip from Hyderabad to Bangalore. But North India, before the pandemic, that used to be far more common, right? Because my in-laws stay in Jaipur, and I sort of keep traveling quite often to Delhi. So what I would do is I'll give you two variants, right? So variant one is that there's a family car, right? And it's going and it's traversing. I set out in the morning, and as we all know, it's like a 5.5 to 6 hour journey between Delhi, Gurgaon to somewhere central Jaipur, right? Depending on the traffic. And on the way, there are these dhabas, but there are also these resorts. There's a stopover, etc. So the first part, when it's a family car, then there's a question of just making sure that I might need to refuel. I might need to visit the facilities. I might need to want to have lunch if I'm traveling with my family, etc. That's one part of it. A variant of that is, let's say, when I'm taking an AC bus, right, or an express Volvo bus. At that point of time, there is a bit of a time constraint because the stopover is precisely, they'll say 20 minutes, they'll stretch it to 30 minutes. But in that time, right, I want to obviously make a quick trip to the facilities. I want to have my lunch, and I want to go to the Haldiram counter and get a whole lot of goodies. Yeah, because I'm going to go to my in-laws, right? So give me, in this scenario, how is Highway Delite going to help me, delight my experience in the journey?
Yep. Sure. So, thanks for taking these examples. So, in the first case, let's say you're traveling with a family. So as Highway Delite, we have of course verified the entire Delhi-Jaipur highway with all the restaurants which are available. And our USP lies in the detailed set of information we have about the pit stop. So you mentioned about example of even fueling. So we can also tell you which restaurant is attached to a fuel pump, or which fuel pump has a attached restaurant, so that you don't have to do two pit stop. Rather than you can go to a restaurant which has a fuel pump also as a part of that, and you can figure out the facilities available at that places. So to give you a context, we map more than 100 facilities across these categories of highway outlets. We map more than 12 different categories on the highways, starting from restaurants, hotel, petrol pump, mechanic, puncture shops, then toll gates, ATMs, pharmacy, hospitals. We are also mapping arts and souvenir stores, and so basically promote handicrafts and handloom products on the highways. So in your context, so of course we can provide you the detailed information of the facilities available at that restaurant. You can see the prices, you can see the menu. I mean, you can decide based on your convenience, like you want to go to an AC restaurant or an open restaurant. If you have kids traveling with you, you want to go to a restaurant which has a children play area attached to it. And for old age customers, like so we are also mapping wheelchair accessible washrooms and accessible parking pit stops. And on the to make it more women friendly, we are also mapped pit stops which have baby change rooms at the outlets available. So it is basically the USP is about the detailed information and the verified information part of it, and to make sure that that information is always up to date, and then that is what is offered. And then to make it more digital and more real time, I mean the use case of a bus, like so we are working with a couple of travel operator who manage buses. So again, startups in the bus segment. So the real challenge for them is how do we reduce the pit stop time? Because anyway, as we know, buses are always running late. I mean, they have one time, but they always said that we'll start at this, but they always run
We
late.
run at Indian Standard Time.
Yeah. So I mean, so it's a very apt use case for Highway Delite. So where we are enabling these. So we are very soon starting a pilot on a Delhi Gorakhpur route, where we are going to allow these customers to pre-order before they reach the pit stop. In a bus, it makes us very simple because the pit stop is always decided. But in a car, the pit stop can be very dynamic. You can stop at X or you can stop at Y. But in a bus, it is already decided. We know where is the bus is, where the pit stop is. We know how many passengers are traveling. So we can give them the option to pre-order, and the restaurant, on the other hand, can keep it prepared. And by the time the bus reaches, it can be all made available. So therefore,
You're saving a lot of time, right?
Time, yeah. And the other aspect of the bus travel in India is, so it's an insight. Like not many women travelers use bus. Because of the pit stop experience with respect to the washroom. So we're also trying to see if we can, start promoting pit stops which offer hygienic washrooms with the bus operator, saying that, these buses stop at this pit stop and not any pit stop. And they have hygienic washrooms. So therefore you can, do take an experience of a bus travel instead of looking for a private cab or a taxi and things like that. So these are some real-time use cases which we are trying to implement as we go along in the transaction mode of Highway Delite. So yeah.
And in terms of the mapping, right, because this is a huge network that we're talking about, but even if we take it longitudinally and we're talking about, let's say, the kind of like north-south axis, right?
Yeah.
What's the kind of mapping that you've done, right? So like how many merchants, how many truck drivers, what's the kind of ecosystem that you already have in your network?
Yes, so across the 60,000 kilometers, we have close to more than 6,000 plus restaurant and dhabas. We have close to 20,000 plus mechanics. We have close to 2,000 plus hotel and lodges. In terms of petrol pumps, of course, we have the full database of all the petrol pumps with us. It's just that on the verification side, we have verified close to about 8,000 plus petrol pumps. With the details which I mentioned, the facilities and all. And with respect to the next idea is to so our next aim in the next 12 months is to digitize and enable transaction across 10,000 restaurants in the next 12 months, across 30,000 major kilometers of highways. So that's the aim for the next 12 months.
And in terms of the mapping, right, because this is a huge network that we're talking about, but even if we take it longitudinally and we're talking about, let's say, the kind of like north-south axis, right? So like how many merchants, how many truck drivers, what's the kind of ecosystem that you already have in your network?
Yeah.
Well, and what's been the traction like? So the reception must have been really great, right? From all these people, because
Yeah, so of course, I mean, we have been in the discovery space from since last 4 years, and we have always got the interest about adding more and more outlets and more information. So our entire focus was to drive more coverage of the highways rather than entering into the transaction part. So as we speak now, the focus is on the transaction, and so therefore, with this coverage of highways, what we have also been able to crack is partnership with auto OEM. So we are also part of MG Motor Startup Developer Program. Apart from MG Motor, we are also integrating our information with Nissan and Honda. We are talking to them, and also with Bosch, with one of the OEMs which I cannot name. So the idea is you need not also use Highway Delite. Of course, I would like you to use Highway Delite app dedicatedly and do this transaction. But even if not the case, you can always access this information on your car infotainment. I mean, most of the cars are coming up with the connected features. So very soon you will be able to access this information in your car and place an order before you reach, and the car can suggest your pit stop based on your preferences. So that's how we see it as a connected mobility experience on highways. So that is what we are trying to build here.
wow, that's great. That's great. Lovely to know. Naren, we'll go on to you, and we'll maybe try and do a use case for IamHere. I mean, this is tell me if this works, right? We are talking about connection to communities, right? And one connection that I was thinking of is, as an author, regardless of the geography, right? Particularly in this kind of a pandemic kind of thing, right? Let's say I'm doing a number of online events around books and authors, etc. So I want to connect to book lovers. That's the community that I want to connect to, right? So if that's my basic want, right? How do I go about it?
Okay, sure. Maybe I'll just give you like a visualization of how, when you open the IamHere app, how it would look like,
Sure.
right? And then come to this, right? When you open the IamHere app, you will see two distinct sections. On the top, you will find a map, pretty similar to Google Maps, just that Google Maps has places, IamHere Maps has people,
Okay.
right? And then there is a wall below, like a Facebook feed, right? A Facebook feed has feed from your friends. IamHere feed has feed from your community and your neighborhood, right? Now you could do a couple of things. You could go to the map and search for book lovers near you. Right? Book lovers, book readers. There are authors, by the way. There are bloggers, publishers, right? You could search any of them and connect with them one-on-one on a chat interface.
Okay.
This is one. Second, you could go to the wall and post, "Hey guys, I am hosting a book lovers meetup this Sunday." Right? Or you could say, "Hey," or you could even say, "Hey, I'm thinking of ABCD books. Which one would you like me to start writing about?" Right? It could be anything.
So you
Right?
basically start having a conversation with them. You've got your sort of target readers, right? And you start to engage with them.
Exactly. And we have specific circles within these communities. For example, in the neighborhood community, we specifically have a books and readers community, sub community, right? So, like, there is a fitness community, sports community, food community, right? A business networking community, arts and culture community. There's a books community as well, which is just about books, the writers, readers, bloggers, enthusiasts, book people who want to exchange books, right? All of that, right? You would just typically go and engage in that books community in your neighborhood.
Right.
Right now, this could be, and I say engagement. You could post, you could ask questions, people can respond. Somebody can ask a question, you can respond to it. You can post about your book. You can post about a book that you read, or you can say, "Hey, I am having ABCD book. Who has this XYZ book? I'm willing to exchange." Or you can do these meetups, right? Any of that is possible.
Right. I see. Okay. Great. And
You can
just
have
sort
a
of
bookstore. You can have a bookstore. You can have an old bookstore. You can start promoting, "Hey, 20% off." Right? All of those are possible.
have a
I'm-
virtual book launch or something like that, or maybe
Right. Literally, we are. Our vision is to digitize neighborhoods and communities. Right, and whatever happens within that is in the domain of what we are targeting.
right. And of course, rolling up from from book lovers and book communities to the overall sort of umbrella. What's been the traction that you've enjoyed thus far?
Okay, so as I said, we have crossed 200,000 users now, and we are rated in the top 10 social apps in the country. We recently won the Government of India's Atmanirbhar App Challenge under a special category award for community collaboration. So some of these recognitions, not just recognition, the most important recognition is the recognition from the users. Right now, every day we have about 32. We have a direct feedback channel with our users on the app. Right, so anybody can click on the write to us button and send us a ping. It could be a doubt, it could be a criticism, it could be praise, it could be anything, help. Right, so every day we get about 30 to 50 people pinging and saying, "Hey, thank you, I'm here. You made my day. I found somebody. Hey, thank you, I'm here. You made my day. I was able to sell 3 more of what I wanted to sell." Right?
Because of your platform, because of this.
To post these events, right? So some of these things is what gives us the encouragement. But at a high level, we are about 200,000 users with a healthy monthly, daily active usage. There are, okay, I would give an interesting metric. There are about 10,000 discoveries happening on the app every day among these 200,000 users. Right, and some of our power users end up doing 4 to 5 discoveries every week. That's like close to a discovery a day, right? And the further interesting statistic there is 20% of all these discoveries end up in interactions. So for every 10,000 discoveries, 2,000 interactions and connections take place.
Right.
And that is also consistent with some of the metric that you will generally see on about smartphone, location-based search, some of the Google metrics, etc. 2 out of 3 smartphone users look for local info every week. Right? And 1/4 look for local info every day. Right? And the business equivalent of that is around 40 to 45% of local searches end up in transactions in the neighborhood or in the communities. Right? That's like highest. I mean, Ashwin may know the magnitude of this 45%. That's like a dream come true for any B2B business or any customer, 45% conversion, right? But that is the power location, and that's the power of neighborhoods and communities, right? Because 70% of our lives is spent in our neighborhoods and our communities.
Now, I was just wondering, right, when you were saying, I mean, of these 30 or 50 people who are sort of interacting with you on a daily basis, right, the users, do you also sometimes get more than feedback, more like a wish list? I wish IamHere could give me this feature. I wish I could do that. And that gives you another idea to take the game to the next level and innovate and actually provide more sort of customer satisfaction.
Yes. So ever since we had our prototype ready in 2017, every single feature has been built bottom up. So every single feature, every single function has been requested by at least hundreds of users, right? And that's how it made its way into the product roadmap. So every day we keep collating these requirements, we keep feeding it to our product release lifecycle, and then every 2 weeks we have a small release, every 2 months we have a major release, right? That kind of thing keeps going. But yeah, you are right. Every single feature has been built grounds up. I'll just give you an example, right? When we started this, I was narrating the problem of not being able to know who lives in my neighborhood. So our V1, our prototype, was just map with chat. So Google Maps had places, we had people, and on Google Maps you just call up a business or pharmacy or somebody. Here you can chat with people, right? But then when momentarily wanted to connect people around, people started asking, hey, okay, you're allowing me to discover, you're allowing me to connect. It will be good if you give us like a wall that's on Facebook where I can just post something, people can respond. Instead of going and, let's say I'm a guitarist, I'm looking for drummers near me. Instead of me going and pinging people individually, if I can just post saying, hey, I'm a guitarist, I'm looking for drummer, and drummers would respond. So the wall was not there in our initial product idea, right? It came as an addition based on features. Right? Then when we started questions, people said, I want to share images. Now people are saying, I want to share videos. So that's coming up shortly. And when we started connecting people in the open neighborhood, a lot of apartments, college communities, corporate communities, right? IT park communities came to us and said, hey, whatever you're doing for the neighborhood, can you allow us to do for our private networks? So 6 months back, we have now launched a private community network model IamHere. So NASCOM, for example, as a community can use IamHere, where outsiders will not have access. It will be a moderated community.
So that becomes like a closed group, and you can have all your internal sort of events and sort of interactions within that. Right.
The problem, as I said, that we are solving is we are connecting people nearby, and nearby could be your apartment next door, could be your next street, next locality, your workspace. It could be your college alumni. It could be anything.
Right. Great. So guys, while we were talking, I was just keeping a look at the chat box, and there are quite a few number of questions. So maybe what we'll do is I'll start reading out the questions one by one, and then any of you can just raise your hand and you can do that. And of course, if more than one of you want to take the same question, that's great as well, right? So let's think of this in the context of our current times, which are, admittedly hard pandemic times. And one of the first questions that I want to bring up before you is from Shaunok, who asks, what would you say are the major risks that a startup has to face today? Any of you want to? Okay. All right, Rajesh.
Well, I think the entire dynamics of the market is shifted. I mean, you cannot really have, the predictability of the customers. Like, I mean, especially because I come from the travel space. I mean, the entire travel ecosystem has shifted to a new benchmark levels. So, so the assumptions which we used to take, okay, so many travelers per year, so many road trips, is all gone for a toss. So I think the biggest challenge for any startup would be to really work on the new assumptions and then figure out whether it makes a business sense or not.
Okay.
So I think that
just to add to that thing, right? Like what, like while Rajesh is talking from the B2C perspective, even B2B also same case, right? What one suggestion, like what we ourselves give to our teammates and our co-founders and all, right? So it's all about it's not just about a plan B for plan A. You should always have a plan B for plan B. Right. Basically, that's the that kind of the minute details. If you have even these kind of spaces, kind of situation what we are currently into, there is one thing it's like basically it's a kind of Terminator. Like ahead of the time you send someone, okay, and then he's coming back to help you, right? So that kind of the if you at least prepare, like what we say is this is the thing, right? Like hope for the best, prepare for worse. That's even in the good times we follow that. Like we did that thing even 3 years back. And that's the whole point. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the next question that's coming up, and that's been asked by Rishabh Sadhu, and we're talking about the fact that most of the startups, even today, right, do not necessarily have the good fortune of having sort of pre-connects with seed investors or angel investors or the big daddies of the ecosystem who can fund this, right? So they're bootstrapped, and in that kind of a scenario, it becomes very difficult because I'm small, right? I'm bootstrapped. I'm very, very well aware of my constraints. How do I start to reach out? Forget about the big corporates, right? How do I even start to reach out to some of the bigger sort of startups who've already made that transition, right? Who've scaled up, who've got that terminal velocity, and I want to start working with them. How do I even start on that?
Yeah, I can. Okay, fine. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I understood your question, so basically you're talking about the startup. How do we build the initial traction? Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the best way to do it is reach every customer, one to one. I mean, what we did initially when we launched Highway Delite is I went out on a circuit drive from Bangalore to Mysore to Mangalore to Belgaum and back to Bangalore. And when we launched this app, so I went on this drive educating my merchant partners, saying that, hey, we have added your outlet, and we are, we want you to educate the customer to discover your outlet on our app. And then whatever customers were there sitting in the restaurant, I took the pain to go and tell them that this is Highway Delite app, this is what we do, this you can download from Play Store. So that is, I mean, that gave us the initial 500 downloads actually. And when anybody next see on a Play Store that, okay, this app has, because I mean, if you have seen because we have gone through that journey, like, you start downloads and then you have something like 100 downloads. and the next is 500, and then next is I think 1,000 or 5,000, things
So
like
these
that.
are like the basic thresholds that you just
So
keep
I
achieving
think
one
you
after
have
the
to
other.
be, I think you have to go out your personal way to achieve the initial milestones, and then you can always think of network effects, digital marketing, and XYZ channels. But I think the initial push, I think you'll have to do it on your own. So.
Right. Okay. So Ashwin, because of interest of time, I'm going to throw another question at you that's specifically for you. And this one is by Nisarg, who says, what if I'm not very sure? So I have a website, right? I have a website. I'm not even very sure what is my strong point, what is my strongest suit, right? What is really my USP? So I don't know what to personalize. Can you help me with that?
Sorry, I was on mute. That's very good question, because like what we say even at the personalized, like until unless you know about your visitors, don't personalize it out. That's a broad statement. Even if you go to our website, we have put that thing, right? So when we started custom fit, like in the fundamentally, right, from the day one of the one of the biggest addition what we have added is, until how can we, like, custom fit helps you out in understanding very first, even before personalizing it out, like what to personalize, when to personalize, and whom to personalize. We say custom fit can help you out understanding exactly how people are walking on your website, what the turns they are taking, what the twists they are undergoing, where are they seeing friction, right? With all this information, now you are in a good place to understand what to and when to and whom to go and personalize it out, right, from various different angles. So we come up with a whole cycle, where the cycle starts with understanding of your visitors, going and personalizing it out, and the post personalization, what we call it, understanding how people started reacting under different experiences. Okay, the first understanding may not be the same, right? Now you understood, like, okay, fine, I'm giving this kind of the personalized experience. Now the people are started reacting in a different way. Now how can I actually tap that potential? Okay, how can I tap that engagement level to go to the next level? It's a constant cycle. The entire suite of the personalization is what custom fit offers. It starts in the pre and it goes, it ends with the post, and then the cycle continues there.
Right. Absolutely. So the next question that I'm going to take up is that from Sandeep. Okay. And his question, Sandeep Maiti, and his question is, I'm a startup. So how can I enroll my organization? Okay, I'm not very sure what he means by enroll. Okay, let me assume, right, that you want to enroll with an incubation center, right? Or you want to enroll with a particular sort of setup, maybe a VC or incubation center, whatever. So what would be your advice for Sandeep?
So I will tell you, like, when we started, right, we started with just 2 member, like, and one, like, for a very first hire 3 member team. We got into a small, place. It's a kind of it's a co-working place, that thing, right? So wherever, actually, for example, say that there are many VCs that runs the EAR program. Okay, we got into the Kalari Capital as a EAR. We enrolled over there. Then we got into the NASCOM thing and all. Right, weren't all possible in sense, for example, like when we started, our aim is to, that very first aim is to, okay, cut short our budget, okay, on the spending and all. So one of the biggest advice what I received from the, like, on the day one when I started, right, it's all about, okay, it matters to you even if you save 10,000 rupees that particular month. Like, you can go and, like, say the 20,000 or 10,000, you can go and hire an intern for that cost, right? So that's how actually we got into this mode of, okay, where and all we can go and save. Then we eventually, thankful that we landed onto the K-Starts program, where they provided us a free office space, mentorship, support, and all. Then we started saving that 18,000 rupees, which we used to spend for the 3 seats. So we hired the next intern from that amount, right? That's how, like, all these kind of the, it's like even every penny will count, and that will lead you to the next game. Right? That's the thing.
Okay, and just as an adjunct to that, right, I'm going back to the original question, right? I have, let's say, selected a particular incubation center, right, and I want to be associated with them. So let's say I want to be associated with NASCOM, or I want to be associated with the STEP, or I want to be associated with one of the IAM incubators, or with Atal Innovation Center, whatever. I mean, there's so many of them, right? What would be a good starting point? Of course, we can't go into all of the details, but typically, what would be a starting point? What do you guys feel?
See, the main thing is every incubation center, okay, they have certain roles in sense, okay, what they are good at, like what kind of the companies already over there, right? So, for example, say that we got into the NASCOM, the biggest support what we got from the NASCOM is the networking effect over there, right? So the enterprise connects, like investor connects and all. So these are all the roles which different organizations or different entities place, and they are really good at that specific thing. So you need to go and focus, okay, what is that, okay, you are looking for at the current stage which you are into, right? So then actually, you just try to figure out, okay, for me the NASCOM will be good, or okay, the IAM center will be good and all. Based on that thing, that's what actually I suggest folks, like at that time, okay, for we are looking for a initial investment and the in sense of a VC support kind of the thing. So we got into the calorie capture, and then we wanted the enterprise connects, and we wanted the VC connects well. Then we got into the NASCOM, right? So depending upon what stage you're into and what you're looking for, you need to go and reach out to the right folks.
Yeah, maybe I think I could add something there from our journey as well, right? While most of us are aware of NASCOM or NASCOM kind of incubations, right? NASCOM cannot happen to startups day one, right? So NASCOM, there is an evaluation process. They may most likely ask for a POC, maybe early traction, business plan, some small runway, etc., right? But what will work for any startup day one is any of your co-working spaces, right? Of course, today in the pandemic scenario, things have changed a little. I'm sure it will come back, but at the minimum, you will have a network that you can leverage if you sit out of a larger co-working network, right? For example, we benefited from sitting out of 91 Springboard the first 6 months while building the prototype before we matured enough to come and pitch to NASCOM and get selected for the NASCOM incubation, or for example, any other incubation post that, right? But I will just give you my own example. We met a brand consultant while we were at 91 Springboard, and that was like 3 years back, and we are still engaged with that brand consultant.
Okay.
Right, to this date. Right, so it's pretty much like this, right? When you go to an MBA college or a bigger college, they say it's one part of the education, the other part is the network that you build, right?
Yes.
So some of these larger co-working spaces, larger incubation centers, right, will give you that network, right? Maybe, who knows, if you're a founder looking for a co-founder, you may find a co-founder, you may find a team. Startups may be winding up, or startups may be wanting to acquire you. Multiple such things are possible, right? I had met Rajesh, for example, Ashwin also, right? And we had conversations, and Rajesh, I remember we passing a remark saying, hey, Rajesh, we are mapping Bangalore and Mysore, and you're mapping everything in between Bangalore and Mysore. Somewhere down the line, we should partner, right? So
there's a clear synergy there, right here, right on this forum, right? And on the WhatsApp chats that I remember seeing. Yes. Great.
Right. So some of those is whatever would come to you for free or at a less cost or with the least resistance day one, try to choose that. Right. Of course, if it makes sense for you to sit at home, but there's no cost probably to join in a virtual co-working space or an incubation center just to have that network going.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think just a line like, it takes a village to raise a child. So I think it takes an entire ecosystem to raise a startup. So I think we have been very fortunate at least myself, been very fortunate to be part of Bangalore startup ecosystem, where we have such a mature and diverse set of bodies and institution and investors, which has helped across all the way. So I think that's how it goes. So.
Great. We are going to go over time possibly, but we've got one other question, and because that was pointedly at Naren, I want to bring it up. So this one is from Auditra, and this one actually picks up from where I left off earlier, right? I was talking about perspective of an author and the book lovers community. They're saying, do you have any initiatives? So let's say me as an author, or Auditra in this case as an author, comes to you and says, okay, can you help promote my work? So my blogs, my bylines, my upcoming book. What would be kind of your strategy?
Sure.
Okay,
Arithro, I'll answer this in 2 steps. One is the IamHere platform by itself gives you a good place to start, right? What I mean by that is, let's say you were to start a Facebook page, an Instagram page, or a Twitter profile. Your first step is to gain followers, right? On IamHere, you don't have to run the race of gaining followers. By default, the people in your neighborhood are already your followers, right? So you post something, they may get notifications. You create an event, people will sign up, right? So you don't have to run the rat race of gaining followers, and that's something that we were clear from day one. There are 100 other ways to monetize, right? So we can figure those out, right?
Yeah.
So one is the platform already gives you an opportunity to promote yourself because the people near you are already following you and you are following them, right? By virtue of being in the same location, right? Second is where we have helped businesses, entrepreneurs, even hobby lovers do some of these meetups, right? We have organized music meetups, book lovers meetup. We have organized trips, right? Again, we provide this facilitation, right? For example, we have partnered with Hello World, the Nestaway community place, to host some of these events, right? We have partnered with Events High, and all their events are on our platform. Our users are able to book on Events High, right? So we have a lot of such collaborations going, right? So if you are interested in promoting, of course, there is this place and we can give you additional credits and you can promote digitally, right? And offline, if you are looking to do some events, we can tie up with some of our ecosystem players and help you create those events, right? And of course, we have this target audience. For example, in Bangalore, let's say NASCOM is in Domlur or HSR layout. Now, if you are looking at, hey, I am an author, I am looking to market this to book lovers near me, we will tell you, hey, Arithro, in HSR layout, there are 200 book lovers, right? In a 3 kilometer, in a 5 kilometer radius, right? That's the kind of intelligence we are able to have, and our users are trusting us on that. And we will give you this opportunity to promote and reach them, right? In a way that you can fine tune.
Great. So, Arithro, I hope that gives you enough perspective. And I see that we've just run over time. And I just didn't get to feel that it's been an hour that we've been talking, right? It's been just so spontaneous and so engaging. And I know that I'm certainly getting some takeaways for me. One is, of course, a brand consultant, which I'm going to reach out to you about. There are a couple of other things as well that I'm taking away from this. And I'm sure our viewers have also had a very engrossing session listening to all of you, and hope to get you back at some point of time again, back on this show. In the meantime, Ashwin, Rajesh, Naren, it's been an absolute delight, an absolute pleasure talking to you this festival season. Thank you very much. All the very best for your future upward journey. And viewers, we'll be back again, same time next month with another episode. Until then, stay safe. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.